Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey. It has been a minute since I've been on here. It has definitely been some time that's passed. Um, but of course, you should already know it just means that I need to take some time to recollect and get myself together after everything that transpired since the month of June, amongst other things. So yeah, I have just been over here getting it together for the most part. Also, before I move forward, y'all do not pay any mind to my little curl. It's kind of trying to simmer down. It's supposed to be like the little swoopty doopty things on the side, but my hair, my little size, they doing whatever they want to do right now. It's actually flattering in person, but like on this camera, I look like Boo Boo the Fool. But anyways, we gonna make it work. We gonna push through, and we gonna call it a day, okay? But yes, y'all. So y'all know there was a recent passing in our family. And I just had to, yeah, I just have to sit with that, process that, and get myself up out of this dark place with the assistance and the help, of course, none other than Christ Himself. Um, I do have this thing in all transparency and full transparency. I have this thing like anytime there's a passing, I tend to like go into this deep hole and I sit there for a while. But I am very cautious of it. It's something that I notice is like a pattern. It's something that I'm working through to break that pattern because it's not necessarily a good thing all the time. Because one thing about life that I know, like I know this, I know it's facts, but it doesn't mean that it gets easier over time. No death has ever been easy for me. Someone passing away has never been easy for me. Um, Especially because they're so close. Like it's either family and then my close friend that passed away in 2019. None of those things have ever set well with me, but it wasn't until my adulthood to where I really had to grasp that and understand that and be aware of that on myself, like towards myself. And I'm very aware, I'm very knowledgeable in what I experienced during those times. And and I know it's inevitable. Like I said, I know it's something that we have no control over. Um, it is going to happen like with everyone. But again, like I said, it doesn't mean that because I know that it makes it any easier. Because it doesn't. It's always a challenge and a struggle for me, especially depending on age. I did notice about myself that I'm more lenient and a little carefree when it comes to elderly individuals passing away than it is anyone between ages like teenage years to the 40s or 50s or any age between, I guess, like teenage years, children, adolescents, toddlers, all the way to probably like 60 or something. I'm a little bit, not a little bit, I'm a lot a bit more emotional when it comes to those age brackets when as it relates to passing and death and deceased loved ones than I am when it comes, like I said, like the elderly. And I think a lot of that plays a part with just knowing that the elderly has lived, they've shared their knowledge, their wisdom, they've experienced decades, of this lifetime. And they've lived their life. So it's a little bit more easier for me to accept their passing because I'm like, hey, tell the Lord I said what's up when it comes to the elderly generation versus a millennial generation or age brackets that fall close to home or to my age pretty much, or younger. So that has always been a tremendous challenge for me. So anytime if I come on here and I'm talking about a passing or something, just know that it's going to take me some time to regroup, to get myself together, to gather myself. And yeah, so that's pretty much where I've been and just trying to fight to get up out of that hole. Like my aunt has always instilled in me, it's okay to visit that place, but you have to know when to get out. of that place as well. So this is not a one-time thing for me. This is kind of happens anytime there's a passing. So I just have to sit, and I go into this thing of just like questions. I have a million questions for Christ, for God, for the Spirit. Some things that I just need to know. And of course, even though I ask them, does God necessarily answer me right away? Absolutely not. There has been times where I've asked God for clarity, for confirmation, for understanding. Please help me comprehend this because I'm not. Please help me process this because I can't, right? I will ask him something, and maybe it's because of the place that I'm asking him out of anger versus when I'm at peace with something, when I finally find peace with something. Because I notice like he never answers me when I'm angry because he's aware that I'm angry, obviously. But the moment that I begin to find solace and peace, and I release my anger from Christ, because I get angry with everything. I'm like, I do get angry with Christ, and that's what I'm sitting in when I'm like isolated and you don't hear from me and I'm not posting. I'm sitting in a lot of questions majority of time, and I'm trying to pull these answers out of Christ, right? And when I release, that's when I notice the most that he tends to answer me, which is kind of interesting and just unique to really understand that. But yeah, so I just do that. That's really what I be doing and what I've been doing lately, which is why I've been MIA. But it's a lot. Like I said, it's that on top of other things that's going on in my life as well. Just so many other things that I'm trying to get resolved. And it seems like there's a roadblock everywhere. But I'm just trusting in God, because when I'm in that dark place or that deep place, it's almost like I intentionally go into this, like I am knowingly going into almost like a mini depression. And I don't really know how to explain it, but it's like this is a thing that happens, like I said, anytime a passing occurs or a death occurs. It's just something that I've always done. But in doing that, that's where my relationship grows with Christ even more. That's why I believe a lot of that has to do with why I am the way that I am. How and why I'm so compassionate towards others, why I show so much grace towards others and mercy towards others, and why I don't find it comical or beneficial to attack others, attack their character, their integrity based off he say, she say, and things of that nature, because of these experiences that I have and I've had in the past and still current. To where I sit and I really have to rely not only on myself. Myself helps me a little bit to pull out of the situation that I'm in, but God takes me the rest of the way. And in him doing that, and in that process, and knowing that that's what's eventually getting ready to happen, it just makes me grow that much more closer to Christ. And I know this may sound crazy, but I have to be real and honest, because it may be somebody else that does what I do, right? But just don't realize that it's okay to do that. And it may not make sense to others, but it makes sense to you, and just know that you're not alone. So that's what I'm here to do, to ensure people and to make people feel comfortable in knowing that they're not alone, knowing that, yeah, you're probably going to fall in that place. It probably is more than likely depression. Yeah, if that's what you want to call it, you can call it that. Because honestly, I do feel like that's what I fight against in those times. It's just like not being sad, not being, it's just darkness. Like, I just feel like that's what I deal with in those times, because I do go into a dark headspace. And like I said, with just so many questions, and I become like uncertain in Christ, even though I know he's near, even though I know Everything he does is for a reason, and he owes us no explanation, right? And I do quotation marks because no, he doesn't owe us, but he will explain it to us in due time. I've witnessed it. I've experienced it time after time. So I know him to be true and to be real, and to be a loving God, a trusting God, an omniscient presence, right? And I'm aware of all these things, but even as aware as I am, sometimes it does not stop me from going to that place. But like I said, for me personally, I can't speak for everyone else, but for me personally, that is where I develop an even stronger relationship with Christ each and every time. And it just makes me that much more compassionate each and every time, that much more graceful, that much more merciful. So it's an experience that I have and that I've had multiple times on quite a few occasions when experiencing something like this in the family. And that's how I can say that God is real. The Lord is real. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is real. And yeah, but so that's just what I've been up to, and just trying to understand, trying to cope, trying to still wrap my head around it. Because sometimes I also go into these spurts where it's like, I don't really know how to differentiate like what's happening to be true, or almost as if it's like a joke. Pardon me if that makes sense. Like sometimes things can feel so unreal that I think it's a joke. Like I know it's real. I know it's happening. I know that a death has occurred, but sometimes it's just like you still be in this phase, kind of like this cloudy headspace, right? Like this floating headspace of like, okay, we're just going to wake up and the person is going to be like, aha, like this was a joke. Like, haha, I'm not dead, blah, blah, blah. Like you always have that idea of things going that way, but in reality, I know at the same time that it's not a joke and that it's very much real. But when I'm in that space, it's kind of like I'm just floating. Like I feel like I just be floating. Like my body is here and stuff, but my mental space is in a floating space. And unfortunately, sometimes, like, I'm already a deep thinker, right? And it can be a hindrance to me. It can be of no benefit to me at all, or it can be. And sometimes during these times, it can very much be a hindrance. And then going in that deep headspace is just like a lot of, how do I explain this? It's a lot of altering. I don't really know how to explain or specify what I'm truly trying to say in that sense. I don't know. I understand it, but I don't really know, y'all. I hope this is making sense and that y'all understand, and that y'all can appreciate my transparency. And the reason why I'm being so raw and honest per usual is because, like, people need to know that, yes, just because you believe in Christ and you have a relationship with him doesn't mean that you just sit back and you do not question him, that you just sit back and don't get angry with him. Because even in this time, I'm very angry. Like, I am angry still. Like, I don't understand. And I know it's not always for me to understand, but I do get angry with him. I do get upset that he allows people to play with his children and not reap the repercussions behind it. I am upset and angry that, like, for goodness sakes, like they say, grief starts to trouble a lot of things. Like, you think you're just grieving about one thing, but then in reality, you find yourself grieving about everything. Like, even in this process, I'm grieving the world. Like, I'm grieving to the pit of my soul, to the core, to my spirit. I just grieve, like, I grieve for this earth and everybody on it. Like, I grieve that people's president is in office. Like, who really let him back in here? And then I question God, because it's like, God, you have and will always have the authority to shut everything down, including him with the snap of a finger, yet you don't. So grief brings about so many things that you know that you're upset about, but it doesn't really hit you until you're truly impacted by something else that opens a floodgate to everything else that has been bothering you to your core, or at your core. So it's just like, I have just really been mentally exhausted, and I'm still fighting through it. I'm still pushing through it. I'm still trying to see my way through it. This is probably the first week since June that I've actually started back praying, because yeah, everybody be getting it. and we be tussling, or I be tussling against myself rather, because God just be looking at me. I know he be looking at me like, you done? But me, I be looking at him like, are you done? Because you clearly ain't doing nothing to stop what's going on. So I guess, are you done working? Like, that's literally how it be between us. But you know, by his grace, by his glory, by his mercy, he loves me anyways, and I'm very aware of that and very certain and sure of that. But sometimes it doesn't always feel like that. It does feel like sometimes that I am forgotten about. I do feel like sometimes I feel like he be playing games like with me. And so yeah, we do this, or I do this thing with him, and that's just the God's honest truth. And it's not always pretty. It's not always perfect. It's not always like, oh yeah, I'm certain of you. I'm sure of you. Like, I'm sure and certain that you're real, but it doesn't seem like you're working on my behalf. I do feel like you have pushed me aside, and you've chosen other people to tend to of more importance. Sometimes I do feel like that. So I do, when I start my grieving process, is not just for one thing, it's a collective of things, as a whole in its entirety. There have been days where I just like laid in the fetal position, and I just cry like a soul cry, because of everything that's happening in the world, the administration, the people in place, the rules and laws that they feel are truly in their hands. Just greed, hate, division, power, authority that man think they have, the audacity of them to think that they have all of these things, as if God can't take it away. But where my mishap comes in is that it's like, but you can take it away, Lord, and you choose not to. You choose to let us go through this ignorance and this foolishness. Like, why does your children have to suffer? Why does the righteous have to suffer? And I understand. I'm saying I already know the answers to most of my questions, but it still doesn't mean that I don't gravel with it. Because I do. And it's exhausting. And it's draining. And I know y'all probably said, well, girl, you're draining yourself. Yeah, I know. That's the frustrating part, is that I know these things, but I do it anyway. That's my humanness. That's the manness of me. That's man for you. Yeah, that's humans for you. It doesn't matter your relationship with Christ. Anything can hit anyone at any time, and anyone can start to feel a certain way at any time. I am just grateful enough and thankful enough to know that at the end of the day, my source is the Lord. And no matter how upset I am, how angry I am, I know that I will always choose him and always come back to him. And that's the most important part. A lot of people will be in my position and go to that place of uncertainty and questions and don't bounce back from it, because they choose to separate themselves from the anchor, which is Christ. And with me, I don't do that. Do I have thoughts about doing that? Absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. But in that, I am also convicted immediately. I am also snapped into back into reality immediately for the most part, and I make that choice to not let go of my anchor, to not let go of Jesus, to not let go of my source. But yeah, even making this video, it doesn't mean that I'm 100% okay, because I'm not. I'm probably on a scale of 1 to 10, or on a percentage scale of 0 to 100, I'm probably still at about a 40 to 50% as I'm recording this video. I'm not all the way there yet. But that also comes with me steering away from praying. I was not praying. I was not in my word. I was not talking to Christ. I mean, I was talking to Christ, but from a space that didn't include like light, like from a dark space is what I'm trying to say. I was not trying to say that, but I was talking to him, but from a place of anger. And I'm still, like I said, 40 to 50%. But I am back praying. And like I said, it's something that I'm working on and working through, because eventually I know that I need to stop myself from going to that place. Every single time that something happens that I don't feel like goes my way, or I anticipated, or whatever, during those times, I do need to be more in my word. I do need to be praying. Those are all the things that I know is supposed to draw me to doing those things, but they've always been a thing that had me do the opposite. So, so it's something I'm working through, and it's something that I definitely have to talk to my aunt about. And I love to get her wisdom and knowledge on things, because for her to have, so my mom comes from a family of 8. There was 8 of them, including my mom. So a total of 8 children, and it's 5 girls, 3 guys, or 5 women and 3 men. And so, so I have so many people to lean on and to rely on when it comes to me seeking answers about God, about Jesus, about the world, about the afterlife. I like to pull and seek knowledge from them, because they are also part of my anchor as well. And I'm just so thankful to God for them. But I definitely like to seek and get reassurance and some guidance from my aunts. Because like I said in the last video, the previous video, one of my aunts, so that was just one of my aunts, who she also bared 8 children, but she lost 3. So she has a remaining 5. And then my other aunt, the one I really talk to, I'm close with all my aunts, but it's 3 of them that I really just talk to. The one that lost 3 children, I don't really talk to her that much, because I always feel guilty of not knowing what to say to my aunt. Like, that is my baby, that's my heart. And I just pray for all of them. I pray for my entire family, of course, on a consistent and daily basis. There's the world we live in, I cannot afford to pray for them. Like, I've actually, anytime I chose like a day or like 2 minutes out of my time during this period that I'm going through or whatever, I would pray for them versus myself. I would still try to make some time, even in my darkness, even in my sadness, my depression era, right? I would still make some time to talk to God in reference to keeping my family, right? But not so much me. But anyway, so I pray for my aunt often, but I just feel so guilty of not knowing what to say to her. So I don't go to her with my problems or with my questions and answers. I go to my other aunt, which I can say that I feel guilty too about that, because the other aunt, she is the one who lost her only child. She had one son, my first cousin, the one who we used to live in the same apartment complex. I lived in the same apartment complex as him. I lived in Unit B, he lived in Unit A. And that was her only child. Just like Christ, Jesus was God's only son, only begotten son. And he had to be slain on the cross for our sins, right? And for our salvation. And that's a replica of what my aunt went through, not to the extent, obviously, of being slain on the cross and things like that and beaten and nails stuck through his hands or anything. But she lost her only son, her only child on this earth. And so I do seek comfort in her, and I do go and talk to her to see, like, how does she remain steadfast in Christ, because I be needing to know. I be needing to know. And I pull a lot of my strength from my family as well to get back to the place where I know I'm supposed to be, like to get back to fully being Jasmine. And to be honest, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever be 100% how I used to be since the passing of my close friend in 2019. But I don't know. I'm just working through so much because I want to get back to that person. And sometimes I often get frustrated with myself for not feeling like I can get back to that person, when really I know that the choice is solely up to me to reach that height again, to reach that 100% Jasmine. But then I think of the world, and I think of the people out here in the world, and I'm just like, I have no desire, I don't believe, to just like attempt to be cool with people. I don't know. I just feel like certain people only come around in my lifetime, really good people, like once in a lifetime, almost like an anomaly. And then when those people are taken away from me and they go into the afterlife, then I've never felt the desire to just like go and meet people. I've never had the best experience with people ever, especially not women, not Black women. And it's so unfortunate and sad to say, but it is true. I've never had good experiences outside, let me be very clear, outside of my homegirls whose wedding reception that I went to in Georgia back in June. Outside of her and her friend group, the rest of my experiences with other Black girls outside of my close friend that passed away and her friend group, I've never fit in. I've never tried to fit in. I've always tried to put myself in the background for the comfort of others, the confidence of others, and for everybody else to shine and leave me out of it, right? And even in doing that, I never really fell into the background. I was always the one that people sought after, guys specifically. I don't know. It's like the more I tried to hide, the more my light would shine. And I would feel bad for that and guilty for that. And because I knew what would come with that. And it never failed. It never failed. It always came, like there was always a price that came with that. And that was other people around me trying to make me look bad in any kind of way. And I guess that's what I would hide from, really. That was really what I would hide from, so that those situations, I wouldn't put myself in those situations. So I would try to take the back seat, and it never happened. So just knowing my experiences and stuff, I just don't know. Even like within the church, I just don't know if I care to really just like associate with people and join like ministries and stuff, because I've seen people be nasty in ministries. I remember one time I was in church, and the older lady that I was with, first of all, it's just like, you don't even know who you're talking to. You don't even know who you're having conversation with. And the older lady who I was with, she asked one of the ushers to bring her some paper towels. She asked her nicely. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not being biased or anything. She asked her, she was like, she had, because she had all of her grandchildren with her. And she's just one person. And so and I know this person very well. Like, this is I'm going to say like a relative, pretty much. And And she had just come from the restroom with her grandchildren, like cleaning them up because one of them had spilled juice on her and on her dress and all this kind of stuff. And because she brought them snacks, and the little girl had on a beautiful white dress, and she spilled the juice on her dress. So she went to go she took all of them to the restroom to clean them up and stuff like that. And she came back. When she came back, she realized like all of the juice and stuff was still on the ground. Mind you, I wasn't there when the spill happened. Like I had came in as everything was going on. And I ended up seeing her, and we ended up sitting next to her, me and my mom. And so we're just trying to see what was going on. So she came from the restroom, and then that's when we caught up on things and realized what she was doing and why she was doing it. And so she ended up asking one of the ushers, like, hey, is it okay? Can you please bring me some more paper towels so I can clean this juice up from off the floor? And the lady, she goes and she says, oh, that's not my job. And that's exactly how she said it, with that tone, with that energy and that aura. It was just like, how dare you? Mind you, this woman, the older lady that I know as a relative, she's a veteran. She has fought for this country. She has given her service to this country. And this is how you get treated from a person that's in church. And granted, we are all flawed. No human being is perfect. But how dare you sit up there on the ministry and decide to be nasty and arrogant, like you're too good to go. She didn't ask you to go get the napkins and clean it up yourself. She asked you if you can bring, she had 4 children with her. 4. And the only reason why I didn't go, because I offered to go and she told me no. She told me, don't you get up. Listen to the service. So that's what I did. But I'm like, but for her to have asked the usher and the usher not do it, I just have people are just such a turnoff. And I'm just like, ugh, I just get really disgusted. I don't, and I feel like that's a part of why I won't ever be 100% how I used to be, because I understand the reality and the raw and harsh truth of people. I am not a perfect being. I can only strive to be perfect, but I know for sure, for certain, believe you me, like the old folks say, believe you me, I know darn well I would never join a ministry and then be so nasty and despicable. So I'm just like, I don't know. And then this is why people stop going to church. This is why the church houses get empty, because people just, but anyways, it's just like, yeah. And just knowing that, it's just like, me being at 100% would be me being my old self and being my outgoing self and wanting to be close to people and wanting to be, it would have to do with me pursuing like relationships with other people. That's what I'm saying, whether they're friendships or whatever the case may be. That would be my 100% self. And I don't know, it's something that I have to pray about, because it's really not fair to me to not be my full self and be that full 100% person that God has created me to be, because of the ignorance of others. If anything, I should be back to myself, because I am what the world needs. And I know God is like, what are you doing? I know he's probably like displeased with me, because he's like, what are you doing? I know as I'm talking about it, Jasmine, like I know that that's who I need to be, because I am who the world needs. I'm aware of that. But, and it's not to say that I'm just this special person. I'm just super set apart, but I am definitely set apart. I am definitely chosen for sure. And it's something that I've never admitted to out loud. My aunt, the one who lost her only son, she has told me that. She sends me stuff to listen to. She always wants me to listen to it at night so that I can process it as I'm falling asleep. The videos and things that she sends me, telling me and informing me why I'm going through what I'm going through, why I've always experienced things with people that I've always experienced, specifically Black girls, Black women, right? And so I'm very aware of it, because I've been told by so many people, but I've actually never admitted it until now. And it's very true. Nothing from me ever comes from an arrogant place. So I'm very aware of that. So, yeah, it's not to say that I'm just like this, uppity person, because I'm far from that, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, people just make you want to stay in your comfort zone and make you not really want to go outside. But at the same time, it's just like that's almost like enslaving yourself and hindering yourself and stopping myself and altering my own blessings, because I know with me getting back to that place will come many blessings that will flow in like a tidal wave. I'm aware of a lot of these things. I'm very much a logical person. They say men are logical, women are emotional, but I think I'm the perfect median of that. I'm very logical and I can definitely be emotional. But I don't know. I don't know. Your girl just have a lot to think about, a lot to consider, a lot that I've been going through. I have stuff coming up that I'm going through, and I have to advocate for myself in 2 different areas, 2 different aspects. So my mind has just been racing with so many things. It has been occupied with so many things. And something had to give. And y'all know I don't mind giving YouTube a break. But I don't really like that either. I don't like that either because I feel like this is actually kind of like therapeutic for me. And when I remove myself from YouTube and from making videos, I also feel that as well. So I'm working on it, y'all. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Okay? Just bear with your girl. And like I said, if there's anybody else out there that's feeling this way, you are not alone once again. I repeat, you are not alone. Okay? Okay. And yes, it is normal to go through sadness and feeling your emotions and sitting there with yourself, confronting yourself, going toe-to-toe with yourself. And sometimes we can also become the enemy amongst self. We can become our own enemy. And we have to realize that, though, and we have to turn it off, right? We have to know when to turn that off, because we can often, people like to give the adversary a lot of credit for the things that we go through, when sometimes it's really simply just us. Sometimes the enemy is us against ourselves. So we have to acknowledge that as well. Like, I don't like to give the adversary no kind of credit. But I will acknowledge, like, I can be my own enemy as well. So I'll say that before I give him any type of credit. But don't get it twisted. He be working as well. But that's why you have to know when to pull yourself out of being your own worst enemy, because he feeds off of that. So that's why, like my auntie say, it's okay to visit, but you got to know when your time has lapsed. You can't visit there anymore. You got to go. You got to move forward. Right? So yeah, it's just a lot going on. Like I said, fellowshipping and networking and stuff, that would be me being 100% Jazz, how I used to be. Like, being a person that loves people, love being around people and stuff like that, not having a problem with sharing my exhilarating spirit and my my aura amongst others, right? And my energy. But I don't know if I really crave to anymore. And it's a sad reality. It's a sad thing to admit, but I don't know if I crave that. Now I just feel like I crave purpose and chasing after purpose, which I know ultimately that will come with me having to be involved with talking to people on a business spectrum. And I can do that. I can do that, right? But just congregating with people who can just be nasty and jealous and envious, and that's the truth. And it doesn't have to be jealous or envious of physical appearance. It could be envy of your spirit of that aura, right? And that's what I've always had to deal with. So like I said, outside of my boarding school friends, and I have to be very clear because this does not apply. I'm not talking about everyone. People know, they know exactly who I'm talking about. If they ever tap into my videos, they will know. I'm sure they will definitely be convicted. But because people know when they do you wrong, and people know when they do you right. And so I always have to be very clear in that, because I'm not talking about my boarding school friends. They're my babies, black and white, okay? I'm not talking about my homegirls who I just started kicking it with the semester that they were due to graduate from college. I had just started kicking it with them the semester they were due to graduate college. So graduation was in December. I got close with them probably around like September, October. And those are my babies. That's, like I said earlier in the video, that's the one who I went to her wedding reception in June recently in Georgia. So those are my babies. My childhood friends from middle school and elementary, those are my babies. I'm not talking about them. All of those people are excluded. But everybody else, it was horrible. Like, I didn't even enjoy college because of other people's ignorance, for real. I didn't really like my freshman year. Was okay, but I always felt like an outsider. I've always felt like an outsider. My entire college career, I felt like an outsider. And I know it's because I wasn't meant to fit in. I wasn't built and created to fit in. I was built to be set apart. I was built as a chosen child of Christ. And but that still was a hard thing to grasp. I mean, now I know, but back then I didn't really know. Like, I had some type of concept of it, but I didn't really know for sure, for real, for real. It wasn't until about a few years ago, maybe like 6 years ago, is when I really started to tap into me being set apart and then reflecting on things. And it's like, oh, well, that's why. Oh, this makes perfect sense. Oh, well, that explains. And really owning that and having truth and power in that I understood, you know. So yeah, in college though, I didn't really have a good experience. Freshman year, I was just trucking through. Sophomore year, I was still hanging with the same people and trucking through. Junior year, same thing. And then senior year, that's when I met or got close, because I had already known them in passing, like, hey, whatever. But when we started working together, that's when I really got to know them. And that's when they started accepting me into their friend group and inviting me places and stuff like that. So invited me to dinners, invited me to their homes, invited me to hang out, invited me just for simple car rides, just car rides, y'all. We would just do random car rides and talk about life, what we're going through, this and that. And yeah, it was just like fun, subtle moments that will always play a part and hold a part in space in my heart, because I really do value genuine, true connections and friendships. Like, I feel like that's what makes me an amazing person. It's just like my love that I have for those that I love, my family, my true friends, the love that I exude and that I have bottled up in me to release and share amongst the masses. But I just know that I have to be very cautious with that, and who I choose to share myself with. Selectively, I have to be very selective. So, I mean, if I end up, hanging out with people and stuff, that'll be cool. But I'm definitely always like asking God to give me discernment, to keep my discernment fresh and sharp. And basically, yeah, I guess I just have to be very selective, which is hard to do. I find it so much easier just staying in the house. That's as selective as I can get, y'all. Just tending to myself. No, but that's not what God want me to do. I know. See, have so many things going on, so many things that I'm trying to push through and accept And yeah, I don't know. But I have talked long enough. I didn't even expect to go on this much of a tangent. When I saw it hit 20 minutes, I was going to stop, but that's just how much I've had built up inside me over the past month, I guess, or weeks, that I really didn't realize. So y'all gotta get it. Watch it in increments if you want to. It's up to you. I don't force people to do nothing. I don't even have a like, subscribe thing on my videos like everybody else. I just be coming on here to release. It's my therapy. And then to get back to the messages that God has called me to share and speak on. But I can't do it in anger. I can't do it when I'm uncertain about a lot of things. And he knows that. He's aware of that. We be, or I be, but he be, right? He don't ever leave our side. And but yeah, so I don't like coming on here being fake and doing things when I know that I'm still angry, when I know that look at here, what we got going on be running through my head, right? But I thought this was a start to walk my way back into posting my videos again. But anyways, y'all, honey, I might get on here and I might be jolly tomorrow. It's just my emotions, they are up and down on a consistent basis. And it's okay. I accept it. I'm aware of that. And it's okay. It happens. But today I'm just very melancholy. I don't really have, I don't know. My answer is IDK. But anyways, all right, y'all. Talk to y'all later. Peace.